protecting Main Street from Wall Street. It's Chris Hoffman with Money Unleashed.
How much money do you put into your checking account from work on a month-to-month basis? It has a high probability that with your investable assets, we can replace that paycheck.
It's time to put you back in control of your money.
You've worked for 35 years. It's time for you to not stress. It's time for you to enjoy and live the retirement you want to live.
It's Money Unleashed with Chris Hoffman.
Welcome into Money Unleashed with Chris Hoffman. Being proactive is a thing that we talk about a lot on the show. It's a thing we're going to get into here as we dive into our first discussion, which has a lot to do with maybe controlling the uncontrollable, because every once in a while, as proud partners of the Georgia Bulldogs, we were watching intently throughout the course of the season, and one game that caught everybody's attention was a little ditty that went down in Athens against Georgia Tech, and sometimes there's just a game, Chris, that's an instant classic we'll be talking about for years to come because it was just that good. And the Dogs 44-42 win over Georgia Tech was just that.
A nail-biter, and I think I'm still exhausted from watching that game. Wow.
I think I'm still expecting there to be another overtime to follow. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. A roller coaster of a game with a wild finish that came long after either fan base was prepared for it, emotionally speaking. Now, Kirby Smart and the Dogs went in with a game plan, as they do each and every week, and then they had to make their adjustments. A series of adjustments and a process that went on for much longer than anticipated. And it got me thinking about when we talk about financial game planning on this show, and Chris, you know all about the many layers, components, and strategies it takes to help people win in retirement. But no matter what that looks like from person to person, it all starts with the plan itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's a great analogy, coaching and managing your financials. You got to prepare for every scenario, right? The game doesn't play exactly the way you hope all the time. The markets don't go up in a straight line. They bounce, they rotate, and when I say rotate, that means sector rotation. You got to stay nimble. You have to prepare for really any scenario that the financial markets and investing can throw at you. And that's what having a full written financial plan in retirement does for our clients. It maps it out, gives them the best opportunity to win in any environment. You need to have staying power. It's not timing the market. It's time in the market. And I didn't coin that phrase. No. Somebody a little bit more successful than myself did, and that's Warren Buffett. Mm-hmm. But that's the name of the game, folks. It's staying power and then rotating and massaging your portfolio, rotating and massaging your financial plan, introducing multiple asset classes, planning for income generation, planning for tax strategies, planning to offset inflation, potentially. All of those things go into the juicer. And when we prepare that full financial plan for you and we put it in writing and walk through it with you, hopefully your eyes pop and the light bulb goes off and you say to yourselves, we can do this. We can retire and not fear the unknown. And that is one of the biggest concerns that I think individual investors have, especially those that manage their own money, is what do I not understand about living my financial life in retirement? We all know how to live our financial lives when we're working, but when you retire and that paycheck stops, you need to understand that now you become the bank and everybody wants to borrow your money or they want you to invest in their corporations, right? Be an owner. If you buy stocks, you own a portion of that company. If you buy bonds, that's a loan to the borrower, and they pay you interest and then should pay you back your original principal when that bond matures, as two examples. But you have to understand that it changes. You're not in your 20s, 30s, 40s. If you're in your mid-50s or older, you're in that pre-retirement or retirement red zone. It's time to get busy on planning, and that involves not just investment planning to beat targets. It includes generating income with tax strategies and a protection rotation strategy to keep the emotions out of it when the markets come down. We want to take advantage of the markets when they're going up, but we don't want to be hurt when the markets go down.
And as we've talked about, to keep the football analogy going here, the different pieces of this plan we've noticed are kind of like having that great offense, the great defense, that special teams, that coaching, the specialization with it. It all works in harmony. And we'll get back to the whole offense and defense thing in a moment. But I was thinking about going through this game, which I think aged me about 10 years. I don't know about you.
Yeah, about the same.
But 8 overtime periods there, second most in college football history, if I read correctly. You don't see that kind of thing very often, but planning for retirement is not altogether dissimilar because we don't know how long it's going to last, but the game plan has to be built to last. How do you factor in longevity into the financial plans for clients to make sure that it covers all the years, however many it is?
Yeah, so longevity is the key word, right? We don't know how long we're going to live, and we also don't know how expensive it will get in the later stages of life. That's when you're talking about home care and long-term care. And, I'm 57 years old, so I'm experiencing it with my father, and my wife's got a grandmother who's 99 years old, believe it or not.
Yep.
So you never know how long you're going to live, and you never know in what health you'll live. And you certainly need to set aside appropriate amount of funds to be comfortable, well taken care of, and not fear the number one fear in retirement, which is running out of money. So you do have to plan for 8 overtimes, maybe 10, just to be safe. And that's a good thing. That means you're still around, but you can't just call this an investment game anymore, folks. It becomes more complicated, more complex, and you've got a lot more money now in that 401k or in those advisory accounts that if you took a 10 or 20 or 30% loss on them and you're distributing income from them, you could damage your portfolio beyond repair. That's why we run Monte Carlo simulations to show you what the percent probability is that you will be financially successful in retirement. So we want to get that thing as close to 99% as we can. So that way we can calm the waters, we can take the emotions out of investing, and we can just do the right thing year over year over year and not manage the markets day by day. We certainly look at them. We certainly rebalance portfolios on a quarterly basis. We're certainly a very actively managed company with our assets, but that's just one piece of it.
I'm glad that you brought that up, that active management portion of it, because a lot of people might hear us talk about that on the show, but that's a pretty important tenet to everything the Hoffman Financial Group does for its clients, which is you're not trying to revisit this thing once a year or every so often. You want to know what's going on regularly.
I think it's one of the biggest flaws in Wall Street. And I'll walk you through the process of how Wall Street dug this hole for us. In the old days, we all got our Series 7, which was a brokerage license. That was the first license that I got. A Series 7 brokerage license allows you to get paid commissions per transaction, right? That's old school. We transacted, you sold a stock, you bought a stock, and you got paid on both the sell and the buy. Well, that encouraged bad brokers to do something called churning, which was illegal. If they wanted to get a raise that month, they would literally call every client and say, sell stock, buy stock, and it was transactional.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily in the best interest of the individual investor. So that moved the industry away from brokerage licensing to a Series 65 or 66, and that then marks you as a fiduciary advisor, and you have to act in the utmost best interest of your client. Well, that also encouraged fee-only advisors. They would charge you, let's say, 1% a year to manage your assets. Regardless of whether you made money or lost money, they would get 1% of whatever was in that account. So think about that. If you have a brokerage license and you're getting a commission, you are probably calling your clients a lot, but you may be calling them to transact in your own best interest. If you are a fee-only advisor, are you really encouraged to call your client? Because as long as they're a client, you're getting paid. Now, all of my advisors have Series 65 licenses, which constitutes that they have to act in the utmost best interest of their clients as a fiduciary investment advisor. That's healthy. But to add some punch to it, we automate sending every one of our clients an invitation for their quarterly review. It's automated. It happens every quarter automatically. They get a text. And it says, click here if you want a Zoom meeting. Click here if you want to open up one of our 7 offices to go and visit your advisor. And it's got the advisor's name on there. So there is no way we can leave a client behind. And that's extremely important to me, being kind of a boutique investment advisory firm. Because if we take you as a client, we don't prioritize the person with $50 million in their account versus the person with $500,000 or even $250,000 in their account. It's very important that you get that interaction on a regular basis from your advisor if they have a Series 65 license, and we do that for every client automatically.
Now, executing this plan to button up our football discussion, it involves offense and defense working together. In financial terms, that's growth and protection, and it's an important balance that many people may get caught up in the growth mindset because we might see that 401k balance, for example, and get caught up on that number, which isn't necessarily telling the whole story, is it, Chris?
No, but it is the thing that clients immediately focus in on every quarterly or annual review. They're like, how much money did I make this year, right? Versus how much income did you generate for me? How many tax breaks did I get or taxes did I avoid? We keep it all in balance. I look at, if we want to use the football analogy, I look at it as our clients are the owners of the team and our advisors are the head coach. We call the plays, we design the offense, the defense, and the special teams. You're the owner. That requires that head coach to be the best head coach, like a Kirby Smart, every Saturday and march us on toward retirement and through retirement and throw a few national championships on the board for you.
The Portfolio X-Ray is a great way to size up where you are so you can ultimately get where you want to go. And there's no cost whatsoever to get yours. It's a complimentary service from Hoffman Financial Group. And that information that you get on that report, it can make a profound impact on your retirement planning goals. So go ahead, give us that phone call, and let's get started today. 404-341-6767 is the number, 404-341-6767, or head on over to unleashyourmoney.com. You'll see the box right there. You can click on Portfolio X-Ray. We appreciate you checking out the podcast. New episodes come your way on Monday and Friday each and every week, so make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, you can catch Money Unleashed every Sunday on 95.5 WSB in Atlanta. Tune in for 2 great hours of conversations geared toward getting you thinking about your financial present, your financial future, and ways to help you build the retirement you want. That's every Sunday on 95.5 WSB from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Chris Hoffman is an investment advisor representative of Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor and affiliate of Brookstone Capital Management, LLC. BWA and Hoffman Financial Group are affiliated under common ownership. Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interest of our clients and to make full disclosures of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV 2A, page 4, for additional information. The Hoffman Financial Group and WSB are not affiliated. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. This information should not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional specializing in the field of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Any client experiences discussed during the show are unique to that client. They are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments will fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone. Index or fixed annuities are not designed for short-term investments and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV 2A, item 4, for additional information. Hoffman Financial Group is not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Insurance licensed in Georgia, number 163546.